Hi BookTube, it's Gina. I wanted to do my June wrap up today. June was a fun reading month. It was Pastoral June, a readathon hosted by Angie at Literary Labors and Summer at Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. And I love Pastoral June. I love that type of book. So I was all in for that. I did a lot of reading of very wonderful pastoral, also cozy books this month. Now, the group read for that, the event was Lark to Candleford by Flora Thompson, which is a trilogy of 3 books that was also turned into a PBS series. And, you know, I didn't finish this book. It's going on my pile. So this year so far, I've got a little pile of sort of, I started it, but I haven't finished it yet books, one of which is this, one of which is The Three Musketeers, and the other one is The Overstory. I'm gonna read all 3 of these books. They're just sort of, for some reason, not grabbing me. And this is right up my alley. I mean, it's all about setting and old-fashioned cooking and habits and routines, and it just seems perfect for me, but for some reason I didn't quite gel with it. So I'm gonna set this one aside and come back to it for sure at some point, because it sounds and looks wonderful. And I read probably about 50 pages, and I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but I did kind of just, I couldn't get into it for some reason. There's that old mood reading coming out again. I also this month read Nooks and Crannies by Jessica Lawson, which is a middle grade book that set in, is it London? Is it England? I'm actually not sure. It might be American, but it's a story of a very unhappy young girl who gets sent or gets invited to go to a country mansion, and of course the story continues from there. So that was my middle grade pastoral read. I also read The House in the Cerulean Sea, which by T.J. Klune, which is set in an island in the Cerulean Sea, and it's a fantasy story about a magical group of children who are orphans and live on this island. And the man who goes from the magical center, the administration, he goes to check on the orphanage to make sure that it is going well and is treating the children well, and that it should not be closed or should not be shut down. That was a mediocre read for me. I understood where the author was going with it, and there were a lot of things that I really liked about it, but it didn't work well for me. Next, I read The Tale of Holly Howe, which is one of the cottage mysteries where Beatrix Potter is the main sleuth, which was fantastic. So these are set in the Lake District of England. Did I say it's Susan Wittig Albert? This is a series, and I'm going to start the next one for Cozy Week next week. It's a very, very, very cozy series. I also read While Justice Sleeps, which was the only non-pastoral book that I read. That was the political thriller by Stacey Abrams. And I read Mrs. Lorimer's Quiet Summer by Molly Clavering. This is a Dean Street Press release, and I got this one on my Kindle, and this was a perfect read for me. I absolutely loved it. It is the story of a quiet summer, which actually ends up not being that quiet. The protagonist is a woman with children, older children, and she tries to really maneuver their lives to some extent. She's a very sympathetic character. She's very good, and it really shows really well the family dynamics between this group of people, and her neighbor and her close friend that lives next door. They have a fun friendship relationship. So that was a really fun read. And then lastly, I read the 3 misread books that I bought at the used bookstore a few weeks ago now. I found these 3 beautiful, I'm going to say vintage editions, but her last set of books was actually this one, Changes at Fairacre, was written in 1991. So she had a very, very long, prolific career starting in the 50s and ending in the 90s. This is Changes at Fairacre with the 2 little old ladies out front of the cottage. I think that's probably going to be me. Hopefully I will be one of these little old ladies, and hopefully Greg, my spouse, will be another one of the little old ladies. But isn't that cover just wonderful? Then I also read Farewell to Fairacre, where Miss Reed retires. She's the village school teacher. And then lastly, I read Miss Reed's A Peaceful Retirement, where she tries to settle into her new routine. And these books are so sweet. There's not much more pastoral covers than this, is there? Isn't that just gorgeous? And, these are definitely cozy books. They're very, very easy reading. I love that Miss Reed stays single throughout the series, even though her friends are trying to marry her off, and she gets quite a number of marriage proposals. And I wanted to share with you this one sentence about her, Miss Reed. She visits her doctor. She hasn't been feeling well, and she's very perplexed by her doctor's attitude. And so I wanted to share this because I think it's really interesting. Miss Reed, who would have been, or Doris Saint, who wrote these books, would have been quite elderly at this point in her career. And so this is her laying in bed, pondering on her doctor's attitude towards single women. It was obvious that he felt we were to be pitied. We had missed one of the most wonderful experiences in life. We were, in that ghastly phrase, unfulfilled. What made him think in this way? Was it a dislike of waste? Here I was, for example, a perfectly healthy, well, nearly, specimen of normal womanhood, with all the right interior equipment, I imagined, for reproduction, the tubes, orifices, and appropriate spaces, but they had not been called upon to function. This did not worry me, so why should it worry him? When I thought about it, I felt I had got off lightly in the reproduction stakes. So many of my married friends told me in nauseating detail of their experiences of childbirth that I was glad I was spared the experience. And as a woman who never had children, I do identify with that a little bit, but I just think it's really interesting that sort of the spinsterhood, the married life, the childbearing comes up in these cozy books in a very obviously simple way, but I thought it was really interesting, and I really appreciated that about these books. And I think I'm looking around. Oh, lastly, I wanted to link below the video for Jane Austen July. Here's my pile of Jane Austen July books. Yesterday, I just watched the funnest video. Claudia at Spinster's Library, who's one of the hosts of Jane Austen July, did a really fun and creative and wonderful Jane Austen game show called Jane Austen TASKMISTRESS that she posted yesterday. All of the proceeds from the video are going to charity, and it's so funny and cute. So I'm going to link it below. I hope everyone will go watch that video, support the charities that are being represented in the game show, and check out Claudia's channel. It's absolutely fantastic video. So that's it for me for Friday Reads today. I hope you are well. Happy long 4th of July weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.